Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Nady, and today we're going to be comparing the Faced Cinnamon Swirl Palette to my other Faced palettes. As you beautiful people know, this is about the products, not the people behind them. Any tiff you may have with them, please cast it away because this is a channel of positive energy, okay? Thank you. Oh, my little Cinnabuns, how you doing today? I hope wherever you're at in the world, you're having a marvelous day so far. I myself am doing very good. It's a nice, kind of cool, blustery day here in Michigan. So I started taking out my winter fall clothes. I am so freaking happy that you can only see this far up. My favorite burgundy sweater must have shrunk in the wash because now she's a crop top. But I'm really excited to try this out. Not necessarily try this out, but more so to see how this compares to the 4 other Faced palettes that I own. And not to be a shady lady, but I kind of fell asleep on this brand because it seems like they're always trying to cater towards a new audience and they never launch products for the people that they already have. Because at least when it comes to eyeshadows, they launch this exact same thing over and over and over again, hoping that the packaging and the design and the new name and the smell sells this. But if you already own like 2 to 3 of their existing palettes, you probably will never ever need another one. I mean, yay for trying to expand to new customers, but for the people who have been there since they started so many years ago, it's like they'll launch something interesting and then plateau for years and then maybe launch something interesting and then go down and then they'll try to climb back up. But to me, like, here's them and here's the way other brands are going. They're like, nyeh. But that's just my opinion. As far as the quality of these eyeshadows go, though, they are superb. For the most part, at least. Like, not everything is a winner from them, but usually they are just the bomb diggity. So that's not really where my issue lies. Like, if one of these type of palettes interests you, like, definitely grab it because the quality most likely is gonna be good. But just like looking on the back of this Gingerbread palette, I can kind of like match the same colors up. They're just organized different. Like here, if I cover up the names, do we really even know which palette is which? No, this one's the gingerbread one, this one's the new one, like, And it's not like anybody's forcing me or anybody to buy these palettes. Like, you do you, honey. If you want to come out with 50 of the same palette, you go for it. But from a consumer point of view, it makes this brand very, very easy to forget. It's just kind of sad because, like, this used to be one of my favorite brands, like, ever. Not the people behind it, but just the brand's products as a whole, I've enjoyed. So yeah, anyways, this palette, I think retails for maybe $48. I guess let's look. Oh, nope, I was wrong. It's $49. And the bad reviews on Ulta's website really don't have any complaints about the quality. They're just saying it looks like the pumpkin spice palette. It looks like every other palette they launch. And I guess people are having issues with fallout, which I have noticed from some of their palettes. That does seem to be a common occurrence. But usually, for the most part, they're pretty good. Okay, so let's open this little baby up. They say this smells like cinnamon rolls. I don't understand like what the obsession with smelly things is, especially if they're going on your eyes. I know that a lot of people like them, but I guess it's more so concerning like what am I putting on my eyes? Okay, anyways, here is the packaging. It's the basic metal tin. I've always really liked the metal packaging. It does seem, I don't know, maybe bad for the environment. I have no idea if this is recyclable, but it's still hella cute. I like it. Okay, so let's open her up and first I gotta smell. I guess. Yeah, it kind of smells cinnamony. It smells like one of those little things that you get from Trader Joe's. It's like a broom and it's cinnamon smelling. I think it's from Trader Joe's, but like a year later after it's already been out and it still faintly smells like cinnamon. Cinnamon. It's not a bad smell. I don't mind it, but it is slightly dusty, like a musky cinnamon, a masculine but old kind of cinnamon. I don't know. I don't mind it. As for the colors, honestly, it's a bit more neutral than I thought it'd be. Like online, I thought some of these shades were kind of poppin'. Well, no, I think it's just the normal like upped saturation because they definitely are much deeper online. And this looks like an average everyday nude palette. Very typical for Faced. Also, my camera battery keeps dying even though it's plugged in. So if like this looks a little bit different every now and again, it's because I have to stop. So anyways, this is cute-ish. I feel like you could get a few good looks from it, but it does seem kind of on the light side. Anyways, it does seem cute. This whole half does seem very, very light, but they could be good highlight shades. I don't know. I'm not like unhappy with it, but if I weren't reviewing this, I probably wouldn't keep this. Okay, so anyways, let's pop open the Gingerbread palette first, although I feel as though a lot of these shades are going to be in my Teddy Bear palette. So here is this guy right here. Very, very pretty. I actually really, really like this palette. It's probably one of my favorites. It's also one of the only ones like this that I still own because this was very similar to 2 other palettes that I had. So yeah, there's that. And maybe it'll end up that these would just just complement each other really well. All right, so here we go. It is a lot of the same tones. Not exactly the same shades. It's almost like they took this palette and brought up the lightness and they ended up with this. And that is close to that. Some of the shimmers are very similar. The light shades are almost the same. They're not exact. They probably would complement each other, but to me, they're I don't know. They really aren't the same. They're just close. Right, so there is that fancy lady. Let's open up the chocolate gold palette. This too is one of my all-time favorites. So there is that. Once again, we have the purpley tones. Most of the shimmers in the chocolate palette are also in here, except for like the green. And again, these little shits would complement each other fabulously, but also the light region in this palette and the light region in this palette, they're just very, very similar and close. Then let's pop open the teddy bear palette, another one of my favorites. I'm telling you, the quality for a lot of these is good. It's just the fact that they all look very, very similar. And when you're paying like $50 for a palette, I want differentiation. But here we have this palette. Oh, once again, they are very, very close. Like, this pink is awful close to this pink, although on camera, this one looks kind of yellowy. I don't know why it's picking up like that. And no, they're not the same, but is it enough of a difference to justify getting a new palette? I don't think so, but maybe, I don't know. Okay, so let's just feel a couple of, one of these already has a fingerprint in it, and I have not touched it. Maybe it's not a fingerprint, it just looks like something rubbed up against it. It's fine. I don't know, should we swatch this whole thing? Let's do it. Okay, y'all know the song? Are you ready? It's watching time. All right, and here we have the top two rows swatched. Everything looks very, very nice, typical of the Too Faced quality. Things are smooth, things are pigmented, everything isn't flying around. And then the last row, I think is actually my favorite because it has a really pretty duochrome, kind of a nice little surprise. And yes, everything is super pigmented and smooth and creamy and buttery. Very, very good. And like always, we have to do a taste test with this, so I'm just gonna dip right here into Ready, Set, Bake, and ooh, it does taste like cinnamon. It's not like something I would eat, but it could be a good snack. Let's just taste a shimmer too, because we gotta. It's not sweet like the other palettes are. Probably shouldn't be eating this, but we gotta try. Their chocolate palette actually is kind of sweet. I don't know what they added to it, but it's almost like a hint of stevia. God, I love that thing. So now that we've swatched this little baby, I'm gonna look over the other three palettes. Oh wait, I have a fourth one. Totally forgot about the Tutti Frutti palette here, which I do also want to make a note that a lot of people are complaining that this doesn't come with this little how-to card anymore. I've never found these helpful, but I think a lot of people really appreciate these step-by-step looks, especially if they're like me where they can't look at a palette and instantly think of 10,000 things to do with it. I'm not that way, so those are handy, and I guess they kind of stopped with that. Yeah, there's nothing in here. Weird. So there we go. We pretty much have our purples covered now. Whew, wow, it's very strong. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of feeling around with my other palettes and see which ones are similar. Granted, I do only have a few of their palettes, so I'm sure other palettes probably are more spot on than what I have. So as I'm swatching these, you know what I'm actually finding? It's not really the colors that are similar. I think it's just the layout of the palette because I'm not really finding a lot of exact dupes, at least with what I have. I don't think I have the pumpkin spice palette anymore. Let me look. No, I don't, but I wish I had kept it because this really does give me PSL vibes. But the bottom ones are the cinnamon swirl ones, so like every other one, this is cinnamon swirl, this is cinnamon swirl, this is cinnamon swirl. They're not the exact same. Like this one totally has a shift to it, so in certain lights they look the same, but then other times this one looks pink. So they really aren't exact matches, but are they close enough to not need every fucking palette that they launch? Yes, but I don't think you needed me to tell you that. It's very obvious. But I thought I would be able to dupe this a lot better with these four palettes, and there's not a fuck ton of similarities. They're just like kind of close in color-ish. They're like a wisp of a shade off so that it's a tiny bit of a different undertone, maybe a little bit warmer or cooler, maybe a little bit more pink. But like just looking at those, they all look pretty damn close, don't they? Like shit. But while I was going back and forth between swatching this and the older palettes, I actually think the quality of the older palettes feels a little bit better. It's not as though these were bad, but they were kind of a little bit like pilly, like they didn't want to completely go on my skin, whereas the other ones, it was like butter on my skin. So that's interesting. I don't know if it's because these shades are so light. That does sometimes happen the lighter that you go, but I don't know. I just feel like I have this palette so many times. Like even just looking at this Makeup Geek palette that I have, these colors I like already have. So I will say, unless you are absolutely in love with this palette, you don't own a bunch of their other palettes, you don't already have these colors, maybe you'd like it, because I personally could create so many beautiful neutral glam looks with this. It's not an ugly palette, it just seems like a repeat. So yeah, let's hop into a very quick and simple glam eye look. I am gonna give my skin a break today because I just did a chemical peel from The Ordinary and I don't wanna put stuff on it right now. So when I say simple, I do really mean it. I like to create everyday looks that literally anybody can recreate. And then when I'm not reviewing things, that's when my creativity comes out. So yeah, for this eye, why don't I use this palette? I'm gonna go prime my peepers with the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas. And like I said before, typically the quality is not what I have an issue with when it comes to these palettes, so I'm not gonna test out every fucking shade because we already have. So let's start off with Lick the Spoon, and there is an actual fuck ton of fallout with this palette. Like just lightly dipping in with my brush, it is kicking back everywhere. It's almost like it's not even pressed. It's more like the pigment is just sitting there. And that is kind of annoying because already like there's a big imprint in that pan. So that's not the sexiest thing in the world. Oh, I forgot about this thing. Oh, yes, daddy. Makes my cinnamon bun moist every time. Okay, so here we have this, and let's just smoke that all along the crease line and blend it upwards. Oh, yes, that is just so nice. Oh, weird. I can totally smell it on my eye. Okay. I will say this isn't blending out quite as nicely as some of their other shadows. Like I'm having to work a little bit harder. It's not difficult or anything, but typically with their shadows, like you put them on and they basically do the work for you. This one isn't bad, like it's not patchy or anything, but I am having to blend out a little bit more than I normally would. Still not bad. It's really, really pretty. I love that color. It's just nice. Oh yeah, Okay, so there she is. I'm gonna go ahead and give this little guy a color switch. Make sure there is no pigment on it. And on the other side, I'm gonna dip into the Teddy Bear palette, into this little piggy right here. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, just swirl it back and forth along the crease line. See, with this one, because there's not so much fucking kickback, I don't pick up quite as much, so I'm having to dip back in. So here is a second little dip, but even though I'm having to kind of pack it on a little bit heavier, it's doing the thing that I'm used to where it just like blends itself out. Like already, that is so smooth and airbrushed looking and nice. I don't think it's the exact same color, at least not in person, but it's not noticeably different. This one just looks a little bit more saturated, maybe a little bit more on the reddish side. But yeah, both beautiful, just different formulas. I think I actually might like this color a little bit more. I'm gonna give this guy another little color switch. I don't know if you've ever used one of these. You can get them at like Home Goods, Marshalls for $5. They're not actual color switches, but they do the same thing. They are magical. Next, I'm gonna swirl on a little bit of Batter Up. Oh, see now, that shade doesn't have nearly as much kickback as the one above it that we first used. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna take this right along the crease line. This is literally the same kind of look that I always do, but it's just so freaking easy. It's so user-friendly. It works for almost every eye shape out there. Oh, that's really pretty. I'm noticing though that these shadows are kind of really inconsistent. Like one you'll have to really, really pack on and blend the fuck out of it, but this one, it blended itself out. That is gorgeous. And how easy. Literally a 2-second smoky eye. I love it. Let's color switch this. And I'm gonna dip back into the Teddy Bear palette. This isn't an exact color match, but we'll dip into this guy right here. It's a little bit lighter. But we'll try it. We'll place that right on the other side right here. I actually feel like I could probably mix this color and this one right next to it, and it would probably look the same as this. Yeah, once again, this palette just blends out so much easier. And this side definitely is a little bit different, so I'm not gonna mix these two. I'm just gonna go straight into this deeper one right here. And I'm taking the tiniest amount, which You know, that one has a lot of kickback too. I mean, no fallout, which is the big important factor here, but still, it's just like a big waste. Okay, so with a tiny little bit of that, I'm gonna place this right here to help deepen it up and make them look the same. Oh, that's pretty. See, now I almost like this side more. I think on camera though, they do look almost the exact same. Am I wrong? But this one is kind of on the warmer side. This one is just on the darker, cooler-ish side. Oh God, these smell so good. My studio smells like a bakery. Okay, so here we have both eyes. Honestly, from any palette in the world, you could probably get either of these looks. It's nothing revolutionary here. I do want to deepen up the outer corner, kind of like I always do. So let's dip into Batter Up. Wait, is that the one that I said I just used? No, I definitely used Cinnamon Swirl before. Okay, let's go into this bottom one. Love a good bottom. Okay, and with that, I'm gonna take that right on the outer corner. That color that I used before this pretty much turned into this exact same color. Okay, I guess we'll just soften this up right here on the outer edge. I mean, yeah, it's beautiful, don't get me wrong. It does take a little bit more work than their other palettes, but it is seemingly pretty fail-safe. Oh my God, I need a haircut. I've got all my grays coming in. And then before I dip into another palette, I do just want to smoke these edges out with a lighter color. Let's go with, I don't know. Let's do some Muffin Top. Also, am I gonna do this whole fucking look with one brush? Possibly. Okay, so with the Muffin Top, I'm just gonna go around the edges, back and forth. Ooh, that is a little bit darker than I thought it'd be. All right, well, let's blend that out. Very nice. So now I'm gonna dip into Cocoa Truffle in the chocolate palette, and we'll take that right on the outer corner and just blend that around. Oh yeah, definitely not the same. I kind of feel as though maybe I might need to mix that with a black right next to it. Just a teeny tiny bit. We'll kind of do the same on this side where I really fluff it out on the edge. And while I'm blending this, what's everyone been up to lately? How you doing? Anybody have fun plans for the week? And if you feel like it, comment down below the most beautiful thing that you've seen lately. I always love hearing from everyone, and I really enjoy reading your comments. Okay, so that is pretty close. So now let's take a lighter color to blend all of that out with, just like we did the other side. This is so bougie. And we'll just take that right up there and blend it around. Yeah, they're not the exact same, but are they fucking close? Yeah. But also, I did just use like the nude browns in here, and so you could probably do this with any palette, which I guess knowing that in itself is something. Let's try some of these shimmers. I'm gonna start with Frost Those Buns right on my finger, and I'm gonna take that right on the inner corner, right about there. Oh, that is beautiful. Really, really pretty. A lovely highlighter color. So on the other side, I'm gonna go into Spiked Eggnog in the Gingerbread Palette. Ooh, this palette actually feels much creamier and softer, and there's a lot more payoff. Oh, yes. Yeah, I definitely like the older shimmer much better. It might just be the undertone because this side does have like a rose gold underbite to it, but like formula wise, I like this. There's so much fucking shit left on my fingers, damn. What a waste. Then back into the sexy cinnamon, baby. Let's go into Sweet and Spicy. And I'm just gonna bring that about 2/3 of the way in towards the outer eye. Oh my gosh, that actually looks almost exactly like what I already laid down. Well, I'm still gonna put it there because it is quite pretty. And for the other side, I'm going into the Teddy Bear palette with this little guy right here. We'll do the same about 2/3 of the way in. That's really pretty too, although now I'm starting to kind of like this eye more because it does have that rich gold tone to it. This side is also pretty, but I just like the depth that this side has. Then back in this palette, let's finish up with some I'm Toasted. And I'm gonna take that right on the outer corner and blend it towards the middle now. Really pretty, although it's not really laying down. Kind of having to really smush it on there. Yeah, that's pretty. I don't love it, but it's nice. It's definitely way too many shadows on there for my liking. If it's too many for me, then it's too many for everyone. But still, very, very pretty. I like that look. I am gonna take a little bit of this deeper shade right on my finger, and I'm just gonna tap it over that shimmer, because we did kind of lose a little bit of that depth, and daddy likes it deep. Yeah, there we go, pretty. And I really don't have a dupe for that one that I put on the outer corner. I guess the closest thing would be the Gingerbread Palette Hot Toddy, but this is the one that in some lights it does look the exact same, but then in other lights it looks red. I don't know, let's try it. We'll place that right on the outer corner right there. Oh yeah, that one too is a little bit difficult to spread on. It's not like spreading room temperature butter on warm toast. It's more like spreading cold chocolate on a rice cake. It's not the easiest to work with, but it's still pretty. And the looks are kind of similar. Once again, I'll take a little bit of the deeper color that I used in here and tap it right on the outer corner. Okay, so I don't really need to do the lower lash to kind of tell you my final verdict here. With pretty much every Too Faced palette, you can create a look like this. Smoky, sultry, sexy, glam, very easy. But I guess I'm finding that really the only difference is the undertone that you're gonna get. Some palettes are cooler, some palettes are warmer, some palettes are more pink, some are more purple. And so even though the palettes themselves are very similar, the undertone to them is just a little bit different, so that the final result, there's just minute differences. And I think that must just be how they justify launching something that to the naked eye looks exactly the same as everything else that they've launched, but once it's actually applied, it is a little bit different. Like this eye is more red, this eye is definitely lamb and more gold, whereas this side, it doesn't have a silver undertone, but it has more like a champagne undertone. Ooh, champagne sounds good. Fuck, I want a mimosa. Mimosa! Mimosa, mimosa, mimosa. So with my little collection, with my 4 palettes compared to this new one, are there dupes? Yes. Are they the exact same? Not quite, but they are so fucking similar. But altogether, is this the same as anything else that I have from them? No, but does that mean that you need this palette? No. I think even though they are different palettes and they are different colors, in the end, you could probably get very, very similar looks that aren't going to be the exact same as what you'd get out of here, but the difference is going to be so minute that it's not really worth paying $50. So that just brings me back around again to them only catering towards a new audience, because this palette would be perfect if you don't have any of their other palettes or if you only have one of their colorful palettes. I really could see this working great for a lot of people, but it is also kind of on the ashy looking side. It's definitely light, and I also don't think it's quite as attractive as some of their other palettes. Not that it's ugly, but like if I had to choose between this and the Gingerbread palette, this would be the winner all day. Even this over the Teddy Bear palette, this is a total freaking winner in my opinion. So yeah, it's up to you. I don't think the quality of this is bad. Looking at my monitor, I think I actually like the Cinnamon Swirl side a little bit better. It might just be because it's darker, and I love a dark, grungy kind of vintage looking glam. And that's more this side. This side's pretty too, but this is the side that my eye instantly goes towards when I look at my monitor. So yeah, I don't think this is a bad palette. Do I recommend it? Again, if you don't have a bunch of their other palettes, I guess so, but I think this brand has better ones to choose from. Do I think it's worth the price? Like, yeah, I guess if you don't have another one of their palettes, but like I keep fucking saying, their other palettes I think are better. So quality-wise, yeah, it's good. If you think it's worth the price, go grab it. I don't, because I know that with other palettes that I own, I could create a very, very similar look. So it's pretty, but I'm not sold on it. What do you think? Let me know. Do you like this? Do you have it? Do you like it better than other palettes? Do you like it less than other palettes? Do you think it's the exact same as other palettes? How do you feel about Too Faced seemingly launching the same shit over and over and over again? I know a lot of people said this was super close to their PB&J palette, which I did not get. I think that's what it's called. Sorry for all the indecisiveness. I feel like this was kind of a weird, pointless review, but I just wanted to see how close this palette was to the other shit that they had. I kind of regret getting rid of their other palettes because we could have gone even deeper. Anyways, my loves, there you go. Thank you so much for being here. I love having you. See, but from here, don't they look awfully similar? Okay, so y'all know the drill. If you would like to support me and my channel just a little bit more, please feel free to join us over on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Poplix. There you get videos a day early, you get Patreon only content, plus best part, it is cheap, fun, and fancy just like me. Like always, please be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell down below so that you're notified anytime I upload a new video. Don't forget my newest collection of highlighters, including Black Ice, which does change from black to white, will be available again soon at thepoplix.com. Also, my latest album, Kiss of Fame, is available everywhere online that music is sold. Thank you so much to everyone who's supporting them. Comment down below, let me know what you thought of this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter at officialnady, and you can follow me online at thepoplix.com. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you again soon. Bye.